Bismillahirrahmanirrahim wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Peace and love, it's Brother Ali. What up? Is it okay if we just hang out this week? I don't have a guest for you. I'm sorry about that. And I haven't had many guests lately. I've had a lot more solo episodes. And that's for a number of reasons. Probably the largest of them is that it's a really time-consuming process to schedule a podcast. It's one of the main things that people told me when I launched a podcast. Scheduling it, the scheduling and the editing make it a full-time job. And especially for me, like BK1 does the editing and the production. For me, except for my solo episodes, and I've done solo episodes where I completely edited them and all that stuff myself. But man, an independent rapper trying to schedule time with other independent rappers and Muslim teachers and stuff is really no joke. Like it's kind of a miracle, like how many episodes we actually have with guests. And I love all of our guests so much. I'm so grateful to be able to do this. But to be very honest, I just haven't had time to book guests. So I'm hoping it's okay if we just hang out. I have two stories that I really wanted to share. Like basically, it's kind of the adventures of being an underground independent artist in this particular very strange time that we're living in, and living abroad, like living in Istanbul. But these are, stories that, one of them involves me being threatened to be sued, being physically threatened, discovering that there's a con man who is pretending to be my manager and is like booking things on my behalf and like stealing money from people on my behalf. Yeah, and then another one of me traveling back to America just for a day to go to Las Vegas, which is my least favorite place in America. Much love to the people of Las Vegas. But so, yeah, it's two stories like that I want to share. There's a lot of meaning there for me, But also this comes again against the backdrop of really big, beautiful news. That I'll start with that. So if you checked out last week, or if you've been watching our social media, this is September 2024, and we just announced that I made a new album with Ant. Last June, July, August maybe, episodes of the podcast came out 2 in a row of me in the basement with Ant. And, just talking to him. And it was like the first extensive interviews ever with Ant. And I'm so grateful that we were able to do those. Well, that was the beginning of us working on a new album together. Couldn't say it at the time, but I went back to Minneapolis and I posted up for a month in an Airbnb. And on the last episode of this podcast, I talk about this, but had this really beautiful experience going back to Minneapolis, reconnecting with one of my dearest friends and making music that I love. And so we worked really hard on that album, and it's finished, it's mixed, it's mastered, it sounds beautiful. Ant produced the whole thing. It's that like bright, joyous, soulful music. Some of it is just hard rapping. Some of it is really energetic. Some of it is really hopeful and beautiful. There's definitely like tearjerker like moments that me and Ant can't listen to because they make us cry. But there's all of that stuff that me and Ant do together is on that record. There's just some moments of, I do some of my best rapping of my life on that record. It's really beautiful. I'm so grateful. It's called Satisfied Soul. 17 songs. We made 18, and one of them we took off. And we'll probably find a way to offer that to you too. But man, 17 joints. And then Joe Mabbitt, who mixed a lot of our records that people know together, and a lot of the Rhymesayers atmosphere music that people know. Joe Mabbitt was also a guest on the podcast. So Joe mixed it. And it's that thing with Ant doing samples and then also live instruments mixed all in it. It's just so dope. And then also Ant signed on to do the tour, which is incredible. We've never done that before. So we're going on a tour. It's like 23 shows. It starts in Montana in mid-November, early November, and it ends December 15th in Minneapolis at First Avenue. And please, if you haven't listened to last week, go back and check it out. But one of the things that I talked about last week is the fact that I was really concerned about booking First Avenue after all these years because I don't know if I can fill it up like I used to. And I said, if I go in there and it's a 1,500 person venue, I used to sell it out multiple nights in a row. If I go in there and it's only like 400 people in there, it might hurt my feelings. And the show was only on sale for a couple of days and we passed that. So thank you for that. We're not sold out yet. So, I mean, man, go to brotherali.com. A lot of these shows probably will sell out, but they're not there yet. There's also a VIP package. The VIP package and the tickets are sold separately. We did that because if you sell, like the music industry is just stealing everything from artists that they possibly can. Every single thing an artist does, somebody else is getting the money before we see it, our money. So the fact that, okay, you pay, like we do limited VIP meet and greet. It's $50 on top of the price of the ticket. But basically you get in the venue about an hour early. We always give you a free gift. So this time you get like a laminate, an exclusive like laminate and a mix CD of like me and Ant's music together. Maybe I'll put that exclusive song on that CD, but that's not going to be available anywhere else. It's like stuff that me and Ant have done. So like our main important songs along with some like rare and exclusive stuff. We're going to put demos on there. I'm going to ask DJ Abilities if he'll actually do that mix. Don't tell him that. But I'll actually, now that I'm saying this on the podcast, I'm going to ask him today. But I'm going to ask him if he'll do that for us. But then also we do an intimate performance and it's me and Ant together. And then we take selfies with everybody and kick it, hang out. So we have like a full hour together. Now, so like the most hardcore listeners and supporters are paying $50 for that experience. And that money, honestly, it goes to pay for the added expenses of what it costs to go on tour. So, I mean, not even a bus, but just a van for a tour like this with the insurance and everything, $10,000 just off the top before you even see a dollar. $10,000 just for the van. Plus the hotel rooms, and I mean, if I try to scale expenses, then I'm actually harming the people that work for me and with me. So if I say like, oh, let's try to get these hotels, let's try to get a budget of $500 a night on hotel rooms. It's like, man, what that means now for what hotels cost. I mean, I got these guys sleeping in places that I wouldn't want to sleep. You know what I mean? So like, you got to go up on the budget for everything. Food costs a lot now. You guys know, like living in America, gas, everything, like all of the expenses for everything are just ridiculous now. So the meet and greet covers the expenses. And in this particular one, it's like, man, we have one person who is the tour manager, the sound engine. He's doing sound for everybody, and he's the main driver. And he said, yo, Ali, I'm 40 years old now. I need to have my own hotel room. And it's like, man, okay, I feel that. He said, man, I'll do everything. I need that hour in the morning to be by myself. I need that hour at the end of the day by myself. I need some space. I said, all right, man, I got you. It's expensive. It's, thousands of dollars. So we do the VIP meet and greet because we like that experience. I do love having that experience too. But then also that stuff goes to make sure that my crew lives a little bit better while we're on the road. Still, I'm an independent artist. There's nobody backing this. I got no sponsors, no record label, so that's what that is. But now check this out. If we just put those on sale through the regular website where you buy the tickets, the ticket service, the venue, everybody takes a cut from that. And the money that you spend because you want to have some, special time with me and Ant, we will see like 30% of it by the time it's all done. Maybe 25% of it. Like, man, everything artists do, the industry is reaching in and stealing money directly from us before we even see it. That's the way it is with the tickets. Like the amount of money that you spend on a ticket versus what we actually make from that ticket, it's a problem. Not to mention the streaming services, not to mention social media. Like just to get the word out about a tour, we have to pay social media. We have to create content aside from the music that we make. We got to create content, and then we have to pay social media just to show it to you. We got to pay Meta, pay all these people just to show it to you. And then if we post stuff that they don't like, they'll shadow ban us. I was shadow banned for the first half of this year. And, It's just really crazy. It's tough. Um, so yeah, the tickets and the VIP are sold separately. Another question that I get a lot is, why is the tour only, why are we not going to the East Coast? Why are we not? And the reason for that is that Ant is being extremely generous with his time to come on this tour. So he gave me 5 weeks. And for Ant to do a tour, his work schedule with Atmosphere is really demanding. They put out like 2 records a year, 2 albums a year these dudes put out. And then on top of that, their touring schedule is really demanding. And he's a husband and father, and he just needs time to be a person. And so for him to give me 5 weeks in between Atmosphere tours, that's time he's not going to be with his children, with his wife. That's time that normally during 5 weeks, him and Slug would go home and lay the foundation for a new album. Instead of doing that, he's going to come be with me. And instead of being on a bus and living the nice life that he lives with Atmosphere on tour, he's going to be struggling with me in a van. So so I'm like, you know what? If Ant gives me 5 weeks, we're going to the places that historically still have the best turnouts, which is the West Coast and a few shows in the Midwest. I wanted to do First Avenue. And so it's like, all right, we'll book. We put Omaha in there because Omaha is such an important place to me. Just the memories of it. Malcolm X used to live there. It's completely personal. That's not the biggest crowd, in Omaha, but I go there and I love it, and it means a lot to me. And then we do Madison, Chicago, and then end in Minneapolis. So that's the tour. So if people hitting me up like, oh, why aren't you coming to Boston? I'm probably going to do a second tour next year and go to all those places, but Ant will not be on that tour. If you want to see me and Ant, this might be a once-in-a-lifetime thing. If you really want to come and see us, the tickets are really inexpensive, even the VIP. I mean, compared to, $25 for a ticket, it's like, and then, another 50 for the VIP. You're spending less than, that's about what you're going to spend to go to dinner and a movie. It's about the same. So, that's how we need to do it in order for it to be viable for us. Excuse me. So I'm really excited about that. And the fact that people seem to be excited about it too is really beautiful. And if you want to see it, then just get online, get on Kayak or Google Flights and just find a cheap ticket. And, don't check a bag, just put your stuff in a backpack and come see the show and go home the next day. I think might be a very, very special thing, even just where me and Ant are at. And we're going to share some of the music in the coming weeks from the new album. This feels very, very special. So if you're hearing this, get the tickets early. You can still, part of also with the VIP being sold separately is you can add it later. So all of that is at brotherali.com, and that's a dope thing. Man, so let me jump into these experiences that I've had in the last couple of weeks. I guess I'll preface this with the fact that this is my first year where I just had my first paid gig of the year last week, middle of September. I did a B-Boy Summit convention gathering competition in Las Vegas. September, first paid gig of the year. If you've been following, then you know that this year has been challenging. So at the end of last year, October 7th happened in Palestine. And I've been talking about the Palestinian people and their struggle and their plight, their oppression, their, being kicked off their land, their apartheid, their genocide, I've been talking about that along with the struggle of Native people and, the children of enslaved Africans. And, that's what I'm about. That's what I've always been about. So immediately on October 7th, we said something about that. Now, what was going on during that time is that I had a tour booked for November and December with the Grouch. And we played really big venues with, the whole Living Legend crew. Reverie was on that tour. That was an amazing tour. It was really, really dope, really fun, really beautiful. That was already booked and ready to go. And then we had the Love and Service album that we put out earlier this year. And we had a distributor that's a very well-known, well-set-up, organized record label and distributor that were going to be our partners on both of these albums. And we had a verbal commitment from them. Now, they also are really big in the world of festivals. It's a network of promoters and distributors that are all connected to each other. We had a verbal confirmation from them, an agreement with them, that we're going to have a partner on this thing and that this music is going to get out there to the world. And so on the physical side, we dumped a bunch of money into making deluxe versions of the vinyl. We're moving forward like we have a really reputable, viable distribution partner. This album is going to get out there. We have a partner that's going to be dope. So, and then also they're connected to all these festivals. So it's like, man, they're going to want to promote this, you know. And every single year I've done the festival circuit, even during the pandemic. So in 2020, that summer, I was doing shows in parking lots with people in their cars. You know what I'm saying? Socially distanced shows. And then the following year, I did a bunch of them online. So a lot of those things went to online joints. And so they were still hiring me to do those things. So every single year for 20-something years, I've had a tour in the spring or the fall, and then also done festivals throughout the spring and summer to help keep the lights on. But what happened is that as a result of speaking up about Palestine, both on that Grouch tour and on social media, that partner and several of the partners are very, very pro-Zionist. And a lot of people that I've worked with for decades, that I know personally. I know their families, I met their kids, I know I know them personally. We feel great about each other. They stopped talking to me and they stopped booking me. And that promoter, or that distributor, they posted a lot of very, very pro-Zionist stuff. I mean, like the head of the label, like talking to his camera and just like very, you know, that's the side that they were on. And they just completely stopped talking to us. So we had already hired a big publicist that cost a lot of money. And also we sunk, tens of thousands of dollars into this project thinking that we were going to have partners. As an independent record label, this is our first record album that we're putting out, by the way, after no longer being with Rhymesayers. So as an independent, you normally scale things back. Like you scale the expenses back. You're like, man, let me keep this thing very expensive. Let's not spend a lot. But we had this album that we loved. And also it's like, to us, it felt great because it's a partnership with me and a producer, Unjust, from Ohio, who is also happens to be, like when we started making this album, Palestine wasn't the main focus of it at all. He just so happens to be a Jewish anti-Zionist producer who's a beautiful person who makes beautiful music, beats, and he also is an animator, illustrator. So we went into this and he's like, man, I'm gonna do all these beats. We made this really kind of like quirky album together. It kind of, you know, in the vein of like a MF Doom project or something, kind of lo-fi sounding. But then he's going to do animated, illustrated videos for everything. And then October 7th happened and we started really bonding over us being anti-genocide, anti-apartheid, pro-Palestinian. You know, and the relationship with him shows that like this is not an anti-Jewish thing at all. This is not an anti-Semitic thing at all. This is a partnership between a Muslim American rapper and a Jewish American producer, the two of whom both are risking a lot in our industry to make the statements that we're making, and we're already on the same page. It's not like when this popped off, it's like, let's quick do this thing and try to, like this was a genuine organic relationship that just made sense. So we added the song called The Collapse, and which is about that subject. And then I would post it about Palestine every day. So I was shadow banned. Like for most of this year, I got less than 1% of people even seeing my posts on all of my platforms. We had several people that are experts at this, that deal with this exact issue, look at it and say, yes, you are absolutely shadow banned. I know now that there are specific individuals that actually make those decisions within those organizations. Like there are people that push a button, you know. So it happens a few different ways. One, if you post things that your followers object to or people like report you or something like that, then they'll they'll suspend your account for 24 hours. There are people all the time that are like, oh, I'm in Twitter jail, or I'm in Facebook jail, or whatever, because they'll hit you up and say, like, you violated community agreements. Well, with us, that was not the case at all. We never got anything saying that we violated anything, because we didn't. I didn't say anything hateful about anybody, and most of what I did online was repost Jewish voices that were telling the truth, both to like let them speak, like let them be heard. You know what I mean? Let them be heard. But then also for me to really make the case that like this is not an anti-Jewish thing at all. To the contrary, this is So in any case, we put a lot of money into an album. We're shadow banned. The big press agent that we hired literally got zero. Not a single write-up, not a single interview, not a single feature, literally zero, not one thing. The distributor just ghosted us. And then it was too late to get another one for that project. And so we basically just ended up holding the bag with just us and our email list. And so we lost a lot of money on that project. And then on top of that, my booking agent, who also is a Jewish woman, and she's amazing at her job. And, she said when the stuff in October popped off, she's like, man, this is really difficult for me. But she said, I know where you're coming from, and I believe in your right to say what you're saying because I know it's not a hateful message. I know that it's important for different voices to be heard. And she said, you understand this issue better than I do. She's like, I'm not educated enough to have a conversation with you about it. But she's like, it's difficult for me, but I'm going to keep fighting for you. And so even my Jewish booking agent wasn't able to secure me a single show until September. So we lost money on the album we put out, and, and we're a brand new company with no investors, with no backers, except for the Caravan and for the people that supported the other things that we did. So, and also Zakat Foundation, which is our sponsor. Shout out to Zakat Foundation, ZAKAT, zakat.org. It's a really dope organization. And during this, I was really, every time something pops up that's like tragic and these nightmares like the earthquake in here in Turkey and in Syria, it's like, man, we're already partners with people that have an office in Turkey where they could respond immediately. And it's like, so right when that happened, I could jump right on the podcast and being like, this organization that we've been telling you about, they were already on the ground in Turkey, and they are now responding. So it's beautiful. And then the same thing, when things popped off again in Palestine, like they're right there. And we were able to say, $5 gets a hot meal to the people of Gaza. And we were able to see and post footage of people packing the trucks and getting the trucks in, or, setting up camps and things like that where they could feed people. We really had the plug for how to get food to people. And people were fed. And people still are being fed by Zakat Foundation. So that's a beautiful thing. Zakat Foundation does provide some support for the podcast. It's not anything. But all these things kind of piece together. The Caravan at brotherali.com. There are people that support for $5 a month, people that do $25, and then there's people that do $100 a month. And that's a real community. And then we did our learning series, and we did a merch drop, and we did some things. And so we've been able to, praise be to Allah, keep the lights on. And then also it takes money to get a tour on the road. So I'm just sharing with you what my life has been like. You know what I'm saying? And the challenges. But I will say all of this. That situation should have bankrupted us, and it didn't. Like, we got the experience of making the exact album we wanted to make, even though it doesn't sound like the Love and Service album that we put out earlier this year with Unjust. That doesn't sound like what our listeners are used to getting from us. Like, when I announced I got an album coming with Ant, somebody said, oh, thank God, and not another lo-fi rap record. I got my feelings about that comment, but I'm not going to go into it right now. I will go into it, but it's not right this minute. But it's like, we put out something that, and very few very few artists that have a project out right now that they're trying to promote speaking directly about Palestine. Very, very few. I'll say Anis is one of them, who's Palestinian himself. Of very few other people. And you got like Saul Williams speaking, and that's really dope. Saul Williams really took the lead in a lot of ways. Amanda Seales has a comedy tour on the road. Like Amanda Seales is actively, pushing and promoting new stuff. And she went really hard for Palestine. Really dope. I really appreciate her. And she was on the podcast 2 years ago. Go and check that out. We had a really great conversation. She's an amazing person. A lot of people have a lot to say about her. That's not what I meant. You cannot deny that that's an amazing human being that has done incredible things with her life that we all could learn a lot from. So kindly stop hating on Amanda Seales and go and learn what's able to be learned from her. The same with Ilhan Omar. Ilhan Omar, the congresswoman. I don't like everything that she's done and things like that in Congress. But man, every time I post that episode, people unfollow in large numbers. But it's like, man, the episode is about the amazing human being that she is. Like, you have to at least acknowledge this is somebody that's done incredible things with their life, So in any case, the fact that we made exactly the music that we wanted to make, we made exactly the statement that we wanted to make, both on the recording side, the promotion side, the media side, the social media side, and the live event side. They all froze us out, and we survived it. That feels like a tremendous victory to me. And there's not even many people I can talk to about it, except for like Sage Francis, Merce, Blueprint, a few other like artists that I know personally that are like, man, we run our own shop and we're weathering the storm. That's no joke, and it feels really good. And I have you all to thank for that. So I said I wanted to share a couple of experiences. I went back to America twice in the last month, both times for less than 48 hours, both for one event. The second one was paid. The first one was not. But I just want to give you some insight into what this life can really be like. Sage Francis mentioned that, he's dealt with con artists and he's exposed some of them and he's been threatened and all this kind of stuff. He's like, man, my life and my safety and my freedom have been at risk for doing what I do. And it is like that for a lot of us. And I just got one story, two of these that I want to share. The first one is crazier than the second one. Forgive me, I'm a little sick. I just did this travel and just caught a little bug while I was traveling. Okay, so for this first one, I got to go back a year to last year, 2023 in the summertime. I got booked to do, this offer came in while my booking agent was on maternity leave. My booking agent is a young woman too, and she's just dope. And she was at a bigger booking agency where she didn't feel valued. She was at a big booking agency though that was like very powerful. She was working with big name artists. She had access to a lot of big music industry stuff, but she just felt like, man, this doesn't feel like it. This isn't why I got into this. I don't want to be chasing down the newest, hottest thing all the time. Some of these people have messages that I don't agree with. She's like, I want to promote music that has a message that I believe in and people that are in this for life that are doing it for the right reasons. I want to feel good about the work I do. And so she left with some of her friends and started their own agency. I'm not going to say their name now just because I've been mentioning some other controversial things, but it's not hard to find, I don't think. But she's amazing, and she's a young woman, and there's just something about the fact that she was like, I don't want to be spoken to like this anymore. I don't want to feel this way when I'm at work because I relate to that. She's like, I'm not saying these people are bad people, but this isn't good for me. It's not good for my soul. It's not good for my well-being and my state and who I want to be in the world. And that speaks to me very deeply. So in any case, she was out on maternity leave. And I was with my family in Mecca, in Medina. And so her assistants were fielding the request. Now, they got an offer for a show in Montana to do a festival, first-time festival. We don't have any history with the folks that are throwing this festival, but the offer is decent. It's not like crazy money, but it's good money. And a lot of times what we'll do is when we get an offer like that. So at that time, I'm flying all the way from Istanbul, and my DJ at that time was coming all the way from New Zealand. So Last Word, incredible DJ tour manager, was flying all the way from New Zealand. We all got kids, we all got families. So he just had a second baby. So may he and his family be well. But at that time he was still on the road. We were still doing our thing. So we both, normally if we were going to go to the States, we would, the booking agent would book several things. So we'd have like one kind of anchor event, but then we'd book 3 or 4 other things in that area, and we'd make a week out of it, and it'd be profitable and it'd be great. This is the kind of thing that didn't happen this year, but this is last summer. So, we couldn't really get anything cracking around it, but it's like, okay. So my man flew all the way there from New Zealand. Like that's 2 solid days of travel. I flew all the way from Istanbul. And we know that this is these guys' first time doing this festival. So we land, this guy picks us up and it's like, hey, I'm so-and-so. I'm the representative of the festival. They brought me in as like a consultant. It's their first time doing it. I'm in the hip hop space. I know these guys. I know this people. I've done tour managing for this guy. I've done this for this and this. He's dropping all these names, and it's people that I know and respect. So I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So we're thinking this is the representative of the festival. And, they brought him in. He's not from there. He's from somewhere else. They brought him in to help out. So he's the one that we're going to kind of interface with. Get to the hotel. Last Word goes to set up for the shows, and it's raining. It starts raining heavier. And so this guy says to Last Word, I hate to do this, man. The rain is a little too heavy. It's outdoors. This isn't the type of setup really that can handle this. I think we need to reschedule. I think we need to call this one. I don't think we can do this show. It's rained out. So what happens in those cases, based on the contract, is that if I go as the artist, if I go all the way to the place, doesn't matter if it's in my backyard or if it's in another country, if you offer an artist a guarantee and the artist shows up ready to perform, if the show doesn't happen, that's your job as the promoter for whatever reason. You still got to pay me. So I'm there, you know what I mean? Now, if something happened on my end, a lot of times I get harassed by security to the point where I miss my flight. Or sometimes security won't let me travel. You know what I'm saying? They just bother us. And so, or if I got sick, or if one of my kids, something happened with one of the kids and I couldn't make it, I have to buy the flights. So, we got $3,000 of flights bought, paid for, just for us to get there. If we got sick or something happened, I'm still out that $3,000 to travel there, and they don't have to pay us if we don't show up, no matter what happens on our end. But if we do show up, then no matter what happens on their end, they got to pay us. It's the other side. That's the way it works. So they got to pay us our money. They pay us the money. And I said, you know what? Let's all go out for dinner together. Last Word was like, man, these guys seem heartbroken. I said, damn, I hate that. So I said, let's go out. So we go out for dinner, and it's one of the promoters and his lady friend. And the promoter guy is kind of quiet, but the lady friend is talking a lot, and she's just amazing. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, these are amazing people. These are beautiful people. And then this guy who we think is the consultant on behalf of the festival, he's there. So we're all talking, we all have dinner together. And I say to the promoter, look, if you reschedule this thing, if you reschedule this, I will do my best to make it easy for you. I'm sorry this happened. You know what I'm saying? Let's try to figure it out. But the consultant who we think is their representative is telling us, yeah, they didn't get the right stage. They didn't get the right stuff. I told them they were supposed to have the right equipment, And he's saying stuff about these guys. Yeah, these dudes living, these are like some country dudes. And, he basically explained to me they don't have a lot of money. They don't have a lot of experience. And I can feel that on them. They also rap, you know what I mean? And I'm like, but I just sat with these guys and I'm like, man, I see myself in them in a certain way. Like they're in Montana trying to have a rap career coming out of Montana, and then they're trying to throw a festival. These folks are coming from places where people don't have money. and they're trying to do things that seem impossible, and which is the same thing me and my friends did coming out of Minnesota. And so I feel for these dudes. So I'm like, hey, hit up the booking agent. And so they hit the booking agent, and the booking agent is telling them, yes, I'm gonna book another show for you, but it's her job to say like, okay, but for them, this is a new booking now. Like, it's not like they come back for free. You paid them already, but you paid Ali for a show that he showed up for that couldn't happen. But that's your risk that you take as a promoter, as somebody throwing a festival. So you're not getting a free Brother Ali show. Like we're going to work with you on it. We're not going to charge you what we normally would have charged, but you still got to pay for his time. I think like when I go to America, it's like I lose 2 days of travel on each end, plus the day or two that I'm there. I usually go a day or so early. So it's 6 days out of my schedule that I'm not with my family. I'm not working on my music. I'm not working on my podcast. I'm not doing anything else. I'm just doing that. And then when I come back, I'm jet lagged. You know what I'm saying? Like the jet lag thing, going back and forth to different, hemispheres is no joke. So it's like every time I do that, I'm losing a week and a half out of my life and out of my family's life, really. So I need to be compensated for that. I just need to be reimbursed for what I'm missing out on, So she's like, I can't get you a free Brother Ali show, but I'll book him again. I'll work with you. And so, she's telling me like, man, this like conversation is going really bad. Like, it's not good. And so I'm getting messages from people on that side, like direct DMs that are like, yo, I know you're not just going to steal our money and not give us a show. You said you were coming back. You're supposed to come back. What's going on? And not the direct folks involved with the show, but somebody else from that circle hit me up and was like, you need to make this right or you are not safe. Like, man, we will be where you are. We're going to bring the crew and it's going to be a problem. And I'm like, oh man, it's not the first time I've dealt with that, but I'm like, damn. All right. So here we go with this nonsense. And then we get a message from my booking agent saying, yo, they're suing us. I'm like, they're suing us for what? The contract says if we show up, you got to pay us. And so that's what happened. And I'm like, if they want to rebook, we can rebook, but that's a new contract now. You know what I'm saying? So finally, she got to the bottom of it. She's like, send me the contract that you signed. The contract that they signed was not with my booking agent, but was with this third-party dude that we thought was their like consultant and their representative for the people at the festival. He told them that he was my manager. So the whole time we're both talking to this person that we both met that day. I never met this person a day in my life. Now, in between time, this guy I was still in contact with this dude because I'm thinking he's a helpful guy. And he said, yo, I can get you booked for shows in Europe. I book all these underground hip hop artists in Europe. I'm like, oh, that'd be dope. That'd be great. You know what I'm saying? So I turn around and this guy put me on his website. I said, man, you can't just put me on your website. We need to work out a deal. You know what I'm saying? We probably should try a few of these shows. But he had just put me on his website. He said, I can get you speaking engagements. I said, okay. This is before finding out that this guy was basically a fraud. Like, he committed fraud. He told these brand new, like, underground, independent, in the middle of Montana artists who just have a dream to do something for themselves, their families, their crew, their city, their scene. Like, they're trying to do something cool that's outside the box. Reminds me a lot of early Rhymesayers. I'm like, man, I'd support this, I want to be supportive of this. He told them that he was my manager. So they signed a contract with him direct. Then he reached out to the booking agent, to the people that booked me, and told them that he was reaching out on behalf of the festival. So we had a contract with him. They had a contract with him. We didn't have a contract direct. That's not how that's supposed to work at all. So this guy is just playing middleman. He's just a con man, middleman, fraud. Not bringing anything to the situation, playing both ends against the middle, and neither one of us are seeing or hearing what the other one is seeing or hearing. So we think they canceled the festival. We think their consultant canceled the festival because they didn't have the right equipment. they're thinking that this is Brother Ali's manager. So meanwhile, this guy's been saying, Brother Ali refuses to do this unless you have a top of the line private trailer for him and nobody else can use it. We need $1,000 for his budget for food and snacks. Give me that in cash. Who knows how much money he got out of them. And so finally, once we discovered like, yo, there's a middleman in here messing it all up, I reached out directly to the promoter, to this crew. And I was like, yo, this guy messed us over, man. So let's me and you start over. Like, how do we get? And he said, man, we reached out to you because we thought you were a man of the people. We thought you were a good dude. We thought it was about the music, the culture, the message. We thought you were in this for heart reasons and art reasons, not for just trying to get the bag. And the whole experience has been terrible. I said, man, that dude is not my representative. I met him that day. I thought he was your man. He's like, yeah, I thought he was your man. So I'm like, damn. And I'm just sitting there thinking, I can just see him in my head because we had dinner together. And I'm like, man, I feel this dude. And even somebody in the crew, I don't even know if he knows that his man threatened me. But it's like, when you're in a situation like that, and it feels like, especially the communication he was probably receiving from someone pretending to be my representative was probably foul. And they probably were coming out of pocket for all this useless mess, acting like I'm some kind of crazy, diva that's just trying to, abuse people. So and then I met his girl. I met his lady, and like, she's amazing. I'm like, man, these people are incredible people. I sat there with them that night that we were there that I thought we got rained out. And I'm like, man, these people are great people. I feel them, And so I said, man, let's work this out. So he said, all right, we're doing the festival again this year. I said, look, $2,000, I can get a flight from Istanbul. I will do it just for the flight. I'll come, no DJ. Just get me the flight, get me a hotel room. So they did. And I flew from Istanbul to Montana for less than 48 hours. And the festival was kind of like out in the middle of nowhere. And man, it was hard to get food. It was hard to it was rough. It was a kind of rough experience because they're doing a 2-day festival. So this year they booked Talib Kweli. I was like, oh, that's my man. That's great. I didn't get to see Kweli. He was there a different day. But then also Master Killer from Wu-Tang Clan. I'm like, oh man, that dude is beautiful. So I'm like, yeah, dope. So I did get to see Killer, man. What a beautiful dude, man. His wife came with him. And so then when it was time to actually go to the festival, they had like these native homies come and pick me up and like drive me to the festival ground. I immediately felt good, went out there, and just, it ended up being beautiful. And so we were able to take a sad song and make it better. But just all of that, and so I'm going to a situation where I've been threatened. The lawsuit came in. I don't really know these dudes. You know what I mean? I landed at the airport in the middle of the night and they were on site at the festival. So I like got myself an Uber to the, I'm like, man, I flew all the way here on my own. Like, I don't even know these people. I don't know if they're still mad at me. I don't know if this is a setup. I don't know what this is. And I'm not making any money from it in a year of no shows, no paid gigs, you know what I'm saying? So flew all the way there, got to reconnect with all of them. Beautiful experience. So shout out, the festival is called Rap in the Rivers. And it was a beautiful experience. And I came away feeling like, man, I made a friend. I made friends. Like, I feel like I'm connected with those people now. And that's the kind of thing that I learned from Slug, honestly. Slug has always tried to make things right with people and tried to be generous and gracious and, all of that stuff. So that was my first time going to America. And then the other thing is that every time I've traveled, like, security can be really bad. There's never a way for me to know when I'm going to try to check in, I get 4S. 4S basically means that they have the right to harass me at every stage, from the time I enter the airport, at my departure airport, to the time I leave the airport at my destination. If I'm physically inside the airport that entire time, they can pull me in a room, they can pull me out of line, they can search me, they can refuse me, they can They can make me take my clothes off. They can go through me, and they can harass anybody that I'm traveling with. They can get on the airplane and question me. They can pull me off the airplane. And they've done all these things, by the way. They can pull my stuff out. They can make me sit there until I miss my connection. They've done all these things multiple times. Like, this has happened to me over and over and over and over and over again. And if I say the wrong thing, then, or if they ask about somebody that I work with, that person could be in jeopardy. You know, there's somebody at one time they lie and they gaslight you. They try to irritate you. They're trying to instigate, because somewhere in their mind they're like, this is a dangerous person who is just trying to keep their composure. So we're going to try to make him lose his composure so that he'll slip and tell us something he's not supposed to tell us. So they insult you and they gaslight you and they torment you on purpose. It's part of their training. That's one of the tactics that they have, is like, let me insult this person. Let me try to irritate this person as bad as possible so that he'll slip up and say something that he didn't mean to say. But if you don't have anything to hide, then they're just tormenting you. And every time I travel, this could be the case, especially if I'm traveling to and from America. But I mean, I've had it going from, country to country and other places in the world. So that's one of the other elements, that's at play here. And so, but we went and did that show, and it was a beautiful thing. Second show that I did in the last month. This was the first paying gig of the year. This was a B-boy convention called Breaking Hearts. And I didn't know this at the time, but it's a crew based out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. And the crew is overwhelmingly Native homies, like Navajo, like community members there that are MCs, DJs, artists, organizers, B-boys, B-girls, community people, business people, family people, I didn't know that going in. They just said, oh, you're doing this festival. They want you and Grandmaster Caz, or this B-boy thing. They want you and Grandmaster Caz to do it. Now it's in Las Vegas. And Vegas is my least favorite place. It just is. The intention of that place doesn't mesh with my intention in life. You know what I'm saying? Nothing against the people there. And actually, I played there also with the Grouch on that tour that I mentioned earlier. And we had 4 days off before that. And the way that the Grouch scheduled the tour, those 4 days off, 3 days off, something like that, were in Las Vegas. So Grouch, it was dope though. He actually showed me a hotel that's not on the Strip and it's not a casino. And it's moderately priced, but it's really nice. It's clean. You know what I'm saying? The security thing there is tight. I'm not a big fan of security, but I'm also not a big fan of being inundated with people's satisfying their lower desires all in your face all the time. Not that I'm judging anybody, because I'm saying I have my own struggles. We all do. It's part of the human condition. But that's what I dislike about a place like Las Vegas. It's like there are certain places and certain situations, like we're all fighting our lower desires. We are all fighting something inside our own heart and mind and body and the inside of us that's saying, yo, this thing that might destroy you and your loved ones and your family and other people might feel good and it might be exciting, so let's do it. And especially if there's not much opposition, or especially if you're being encouraged to do it. So there are certain places that you go, and that's how I feel about my neighborhood in Istanbul. It's like this place is helping me be the kind of person I want to be. It's not a claim on my part that I'm holy. I'm not. That's why I live in Istanbul. I didn't move to Istanbul because I'm holy. I moved to Istanbul because I need help trying to be a Muslim. Like, I want to really be a Muslim. And so I moved to a place where they call the adhan, and where there's no dress code in my neighborhood, but people's sexuality is not being advertised. There are women all over the place, and there's no weirdness. There's, like I said, nothing is imposed on anybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can do whatever you want, but the culture is that even women who aren't Muslim or aren't practicing Muslim or whatever, there's not this expectation that like we're going to judge you based on your sexual appeal. So you've got to put that on display all the time. That's just not the way it is. You know what I mean? And so I like being in that environment. You know what I'm saying? I got 4 kids. You know what I'm saying? I'm yeah, like I don't, I would like help focusing. And I like that, you know what I'm saying? And there will be people that come from the Western liberal context that'll be like, well, why is it women's job to help you focus? Well, also, part of the culture here is that men don't feel any sort of entitlement to engage women physically or like be in their space or like, you know what I mean? Women are given full right of way. You know what I'm saying? If a dude were to holler at a woman on the street, and it seems like she doesn't like it, other men will gather around and be like, yo, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? I was in a hurry one time trying to get to the gym. So I'm like low key, like jogging to the gym. And I saw a woman and a man in an argument, and the man like pushed the woman. And I was trained as a Muslim, like men can't abuse women around us. Even if we hear about it, like we go to your house and talk to you and we're low key threatening you if it's in our community. And so I saw that, and just by instinct, I just like wrapped my arms around a dude and I was kind of hugging him. Like he just kind of pushed her. He didn't like shove her to the ground, but the way I was raised, it's like, man, you don't put your hands on women at all, period. And so he pushed her. And I just put my arms around him, and I don't know much Turkish, but I know how to, I was like, beloved, in Turkish, like, beloved, just be patient, man. Patience, patience, you know what I mean? All these Turkish dudes, like 4 dudes just out of nowhere, everybody had a hand on him and were just talking to him. You know what I mean? It's like, no, we don't do that here. You know what I'm saying? It's a different cultural environment. And I like that. And I like the call for prayer 5 times a day. And I like that, I don't feel danger. And I like that I don't feel like I have to dress a certain way. I'm not being judged by my clothes. I'm not being judged by the things I own. It would look weird to have on some $500 shoes. You know what I'm saying? Whereas at home, people are like, you're a rapper, where are your Jordans at? You know what I mean? Them shoes look like you've been wearing them all year. I have been. They don't smell bad. I clean them every day when I come in the house. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I like for the environment that I'm in to support the person I want to be, as opposed to, you know what I'm saying? I don't dislike Las Vegas because I'm holy. I dislike Las Vegas because I'm not, and I don't want those like constant, like, yo, you got an appetite for blah 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 blah. What's up? You know what I mean? What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. No, Allah is watching it all, and I've had bad experiences. You know what I'm saying? And I was on stage in Las Vegas when I got the news that Muhammad Ali died. It's just like, damn, like, it's just, it's a place that I don't have great feelings about. But Grouch showed me a hotel that's not on the Strip. It's the environment there is cool. It's not a casino. You know what I'm saying? So, and the last time we were there for several days, I was like, you know what? I'm going to get outside. I'm going to walk, not in the Strip, but like in neighborhoods. I found all kind of dope coffee shops. I found a mosque, and I just walked and recited the Quran. There's actually, if you go back to like December, you'll see me standing outside my hotel reciting the Quran. Cause like, man, I'm just like, you know what? And once I did that, I started meeting the people that actually live there. And I still feel like I can never let my guard down in that city. It's not even like Philly, where like Philly is rough and it's dangerous, but like I understand. And the spirit of the people is stronger than the danger in the way that I feel in Philly, the way I feel in Detroit, the way I feel in Oakland, the way I feel in Sacramento, the way I feel in North Minneapolis, the way I feel on the south side of Chicago. Like, yeah, there's danger here, but it's like kind of imposed by, the system. The people are good. They're just going through a lot. And like, yeah, you can't slip. You can't be slipping. You have to be wise. You got to know where you are. You got to be with people. You got to have a reason to be where you are. There's rules. You know what I'm saying? But it's different. In Vegas, it's like spiritual warfare. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, it's not even physical danger. It's like spiritual danger. So I never let my guard down, but I started moving around the city a little bit more, like in neighborhoods. And so I went this time. And this was like a B-boy thing that went all day. And it was dope. You know what I'm saying? And so by the time I got there, it was their first time doing it there. That's not the community they're from. They're from Albuquerque. And they're throwing this in Vegas. So they don't have local connects. So it was difficult for them. But they put on a successful event. And it was me and Grandmaster Caz and Busy B that were the headliners. Now, Grandmaster Caz is, in my mind, Grandmaster Caz is the individual who's responsible for hip hop, for MCing, for lyricism being the art form that it is today. The thing that we all fell in love with, in my mind, it really is like, in terms of like what the culture says, it's three people. So before these three guys, it was DJs that would get on the mic. DJ Hollywood and others get on the mic. Yes, y'all. And yeah, you know what I'm saying? So-and-so. You can watch all these documentaries now, Hip Hop Evolution and all these, The Art of 16 Bars, all that stuff. You can see like there's all these documentaries now that'll tell you that story. But then they started having, Africa Bambaataa is like, okay, I got this big crew, the Zulu Gestapo or the security, and I got this guy as my record guy. He's got this whole crew. And Coca La Rock, it's just his job to get on the mic. So a lot of people say that's the first hip hop MC. So you got these people, and it starts out really very kind of simplistic, and then there's like a second wave of MCs that come along that are like listening to these things recorded on tapes. And that crew, the main three are Kool Moe Dee and Melly Mel and Grandmaster Caz. And of the three of those, the one that had the least commercial kind of success was Grandmaster Caz, and he actually got jerked. So the story is that Grandmaster Caz was the guy, like he's the dude in the hip hop parties in the 70s. But hip hop really wasn't making records at that time. And so Sylvia Robinson, who had a record label and an R&B label, she's from New Jersey, she's hearing the tapes of these hip hop events. She's like, let's make a record like this. And so she works with Big Bang Hank, who is kind of playing the role of like a manager kind of figure for Grandmaster Caz. I mean, it's a very common thing, like in like hood entertainment circles. It's like, I know people at clubs. If I get you to book them, I'll take a cut of the stuff that I get for you. So it's like, yeah, fine. That person can call themselves your manager. So that's what Big Bang Hank is. She's around while Sylvia Robinson is putting together this thing. She wants to make a record. And she's like, who raps? Like introduce me to people that rap. Now, none of the people on that record, that became the Sugar Hill Gang. And nobody on that record is like a well-known, respected MC from the culture. These are people, I think, from New Jersey. That's not even one of the big spots yet. Like Redman hadn't come along yet. And, Jersey became extremely important. Lauryn Hill and, long history of amazing MCs from Jersey. And, but yeah, so Big Bang Hank, his name is Big Bang Hank. He goes to Caz and he's like, yo, Sylvia Robinson wants to record us on a record, and I'm gonna rap on a record. And Caz is like, whatever. So he's like, yo, can I get one of your rhyme books? So Caz is like, yeah, take that one. It's I don't even say those rhymes anymore. So the Big Bang Hank brings those in and says those rhymes on Rapper's Delight. Well, I'm the CASNOVA, and the rest is FLY, and these reasons I'll tell you why. When you know what I mean? Those rhymes about I was walking home late afternoon. Reporter stopped me for an interview. She says she's heard stories and she's heard fables. And a vicious on the mic and the turntables. This young reporter I did adore. Start rocking through my rhymes like I never did before. That damn fly guy. That's Grandmaster Caz. Grandmaster Caz is short for Casanova. So when the guy is spelling out Casanova, literally he didn't even change his name in the rhymes. And Grandmaster Caz never got credit for that. He never got paid for it. You know what I'm saying? It's the first hip hop record. It's one of the biggest rap records at that time, and it's the first it's platinum, multi-platinum. And so, those guys, Kool Moe Dee did have a recording career, but it took a few years. And the people who were inspired by Kool Moe Dee, like Big Daddy Kane and them, they were already on the scene. So his students, the next generation is already doing it. So by the time Big Daddy Kane got on record, you can go listen to Big Daddy Kane battling Busy B. Busy B was the chief rocker Busy B. So that's shows you what the older style of MCing was. It was really a lot of crowd interaction. So there's a moment from 1981 when Busy B is doing an MC battle, and you hear his thing. He'll say, We'll run a rhyme. Tell me, what's your zodiac sign? Is it Pisces? And all the Pisces say, yeah. Is it Leo? Yeah. Is it Virgo? Yeah. Speaking on Aries. Yeah. Is it? And then, what is it? And then everybody shouts their zodiac sign. And he would go through and be like, what's your favorite restaurant? Is it Blimpies? Is it Burger King? Is it, you know what I'm saying? He went down all these restaurants. And he's getting the crowd going and very charismatic. And Busy Bee is a beautiful dude. And he's a great MC. He's incredible. But in that moment, Kool Moe Dee is in the room, and Kool Moe Dee is like super rockin' party to the he's got a book called, or they got a joint called Super Rapping. You know what I'm saying? They got one called Love Rap. They have a few records out by this time. And he's in the audience and he's like, man, I'm sick of this, man. Like, this dude is like winning like awards. Like, I rap better than this. So he comes out unannounced and unexpected. And he's like, you know what I mean? Listen, Busy Bee, I don't mean to be bold, but put that Bob Digby Bob Bull-ish on hold. Because, yeah, Busy Bee would say Bob Dig the Bob, the dang, diggy, dookie to the boogie, to up jump the boogie, to the Bob Dig a Bob, the dang, the dang. Like, man, just came in and wrecked him. But by the time Kool Moe Dee started making records, though, he sounded dated because the next wave had already come out. So Kool Moe Dee is dope, but like his relationship with the recording industry is a little different. Melly Mel, on the other hand, of the three of them, Melly Mel was down with Grandmaster Flash, and they were down with Sugar Hill Records, and so they were able to have records came out in the moment. So Melly Mel is doing The Message, you know what I'm saying? Some of the most amazing rhyming, and he's big and powerful, so he, in his moment, was able to get his music out there. But out of the three of them, Grandmaster Caz, he has records out, but that, I'm telling you, I've said this on the podcast, but like I sat in a tour bus, in the back of Rakim's tour bus for a full year. I was on tour with him for a year, and one of them I was on his bus. And so I'm sitting in the back room with him, and he's reciting an hour and a half straight of Grandmaster Caz rhymes. He's like, that's the one that made hip hop what you know it to be. He told me, he said, me and everybody you love as an MC from my generation, me, Brother Ali, that came up listening in the 80s, all of what you love about MCing came from Grandmaster Caz. So it's dope, you know, he's that dude. And so I go to the show, and I've been in a room with Caz before, but we never really got to talk. We got a lot of mutual friends. But so I got to like sit and talk with him just a little bit. So then I go on stage, and people have been there for like 12 hours at this point. You know what I'm saying? It's a long day because they've been watching B-boy competitions and da-da-da-da. So it's not a big crowd of people. It's a pretty small crowd, actually. But there's a couch on the side of the stage, and Grandmaster Caz sits down, and like it's basically me performing for a tiny crowd, but I don't care how big the crowd is. I'm just happy to be on stage rocking. You know what I'm saying? And like these people want to see me, and it's beautiful, and it's a very diverse crowd, and that's just better always. You know what I'm saying? And so Caz is sitting there on a couch, just like looking up, watching me, and he's like bobbing his head, and I'm like, man, I realize he's never seen me do my thing before. So in a lot of ways, I'm thinking about like 12-year-old Ali, 13-year-old Ali, like one day you're going to be on stage in Las Vegas performing at a B-boy event, giving what is very close to being a private performance for Grandmaster Caz. And he sat there I had a over an hour long set, and he sat there and watched the whole thing. And so that was a beautiful thing. And then I got to just talking with the people that put it on. And there's a lot that's beautiful about being in Istanbul, but I miss my people. Like I love the people of America, especially the people that are outside the mainstream, the people that have a different view. Like they're not just buying into the whole narrative of America. There's a lot of lies that hold America together. White supremacy is one of them. The consumerism, if you want to call it capitalism, that whole thing is another one. The lies around empire and colonialism and all this kind of stuff. This is all the stuff these are the lies and the like anti-human concepts that hold that society together. But the people who, for whatever reason, don't buy into that, I consider those people to be my people. So it's dope. It's dope to be with, in Montana, working class white folks, man. One of the guys gave me his address because I was because I was gonna have some Amazon packages delivered there, and I looked and it was a trailer. You know what I'm saying? It was a nice one, but I'm like, okay, you know what I mean? It reminds me of my family, like lives in the projects, or like I lived in a halfway house, or I didn't live anywhere for a while. You know what I'm saying? There's times where when I was starting my career, if I gave them my address and they looked at it, they'll be like, damn, oh, my man's struggling, But I'm like, that's my people. Those are people I want to be with. And then, being there with Native homies that are like holding on to their language and their tradition and their culture. And that's what the hip hop space means to them. You know what I'm saying? And being around Muslims and black folks and, poor white homies and then Muslim white homies and hip hop, like genuine hip hop heads. Not like you got top 5 rappers and they're all white, but like people that love like white dudes and women that love hip hop. You know what I'm saying? That's what I miss being away from America. And that's the thing that every now and then I'm like, man, when I lived in America, we were doing we had a thing where me and my wife, who's a therapist, just held space for people that were interested in Islam every Monday night. Some people have been Muslim 30 years. Some people are brand new converts. Some people are there because like they're dating a Muslim and they know that's not supposed to be the case. You know what I mean? You're supposed to get married. And man, we did that every single week, and that was beautiful. And I miss it. I miss doing that. And there's times where I feel like, damn, did I run away? Did I flee? Did I abandon my post? There's times where I think that. And a lot of people that are like immigrants that leave America, they call us expats, but we ain't nothing but an immigrant. A lot of people feel that way. Maya Angelou felt that way, James Baldwin felt that way. A lot of folks felt that way. Like it's a conflict, you know what I'm saying? I know people right now that want to move out of America, and they're conflicted about it, and I was too. But in any case, so yeah, this is what we're dealing with. We got this tour booked. This tour is booked and confirmed, and we're rolling for November. Tickets are on sale now. Also, 2 other new projects that I'm very excited about. First one is BK1. BK1, my partner, my partner, producer of this podcast, made an album called A Black Box Recovery. We did an episode about it. It's just like 2 episodes ago. Go and listen to that. Super dope. Really, really dope. And last I heard, there was like 10 copies left. So that's almost gone. You can go to brotherali.com. Once those are gone, I don't think he's going to repress them. I don't know. We're not promising that this is it, but definitely for the first run, this is it. And I would be surprised if he repressed it. It's up to him. But then also my man Mally announced that he's got a new album produced by Last Word, And so Mally is one of my dear friends. He's an incredible MC who I've always loved him and, loved him as a person especially, and loved watching him develop as an artist. And I've always known like he's got something. And it was actually BK1 that told me about him. Was like, man, there's this young dude named Mally. I heard him at the barbershop. This dude's really, really, really good. I'm like, wow, okay. And then, Mally's toured the country with me a few times and, roommates on tour. It's like dear, dear, dear family friend. You know what I'm saying? And so he made an album produced by Last Word, who I toured with for years. And this album is like the album that I've always wanted him to make. Like when you got a friend that's a dope artist, it's like, man, you just want them to make the piece of work that will let the world see them the way I see them. You know what I'm saying? Like Amir Suleiman has been the greatest forever. A poet. He recorded something standing under a bridge. One of his pieces, Come for the Hills, We Must Win. Like, man, when he recorded that, it's like, okay, now I have something that I can show anybody and it's undeniable. Amir Suleiman is that dude. And then he went on and did an album with Robert Glasper. He released a thing with Dave Chappelle. It's like, he's doing all this stuff now. But it's like, I just, give me that thing that I can show somebody to make it undeniable where I don't have to tell them that you're nice. And Mally made that, and they just announced it. It's called The Sweetest of It All. The first single is streaming now called Show Me Love. The album is pre-selling now. It's on pre-sale now. Mally, MALLY, MPLS, so like Mally, Minneapolis.com. You can go and order it. I think they only press 300 copies. So man, that ought to sell out. And if you have that, it's a beautiful piece of work. The music is beautiful. The rhymes are beautiful. It just came together beautifully. And it's like, when you're friends with an artist, that's what you want so badly. And so I'm so grateful that that's happening. Also, they're going to have a release party in Minneapolis, October 8th. And November 8th in Minneapolis. I'm almost sure it's at the Ice House. And I'm going to be there because I'm going to be in town. Me and Ant are going to, I'm going to be getting ready to hit the road with Ant. So I'm going to Minneapolis to get prepared for that tour. Not saying I'm going to jump on stage, but I'll be in the house. And my guess is that my friends will be there too. And so that is looking like it'll be a beautiful event. So, the fact that and that's not on our label, but like, man, that's our crew. You know what I mean? Those are people that I've worked with, toured with, that are like part of our inner circle. So it's a beautiful thing to be part of. Blueprint got a new album coming out, Chamber Music 2. That's about to drop. Merce has a new album coming. It's not finalized yet. But Love and Rockets 2, that's going to be the final Merce album. That album is coming. On Sage's label, they just put out Strange Famous. They just put out Old Boy Rhymes that I'm on, and all these, a lot of amazing, incredible people are on. They also just put one out called With SFR, which is like Strange Famous Records. So it's like their whole crew doing a record together. Dope. And I know that there's another tour coming this year with a bunch of super dope underground people touring together. Like, man, I wasn't looking, like when I came into the thing, I wanted to be with OK Player. Like I wanted to be down with Common and The Roots and Mos and Kweli and like Dave Chappelle. And like, that's the world I wanted to be in. And in terms of being friends with those people, I am, but musically, it's not like that really. It just, you're grateful for wherever you fit in. And it's like, okay, this is where the creator wanted me to be, so this is where I'm at. And I wasn't sure how to feel about it in the beginning. It didn't feel like a good fit for me in the beginning. And honestly, it doesn't always feel like the perfect fit now. But I'm very proud of it, and I feel really good about it. And I feel like this is a musical kind of movement that we are not done. Like I knew when we started out that these are artists that are going to age very well. Like Mr. Lif is somebody I still want to hear from up into his 60s. Blueprint is that dude. Slug is that dude. I want to hear from Sage. I want to hear from Immortal Technique. I want to hear from LP. I want to hear from so many people. I don't like the fact that Merce is not going to record anymore, because Merce, out of all of us, Merce is the most improved. Not that he needed to, but man, Merce has worked harder on the actual craft of rhyming than any of us. You know what I'm saying? And I consider Homeboy Sandman and Open Mike Eagle and Blue in Exile. Blue put out 2 records this year. You know what I'm saying? Little Brother, Fonte, I consider all them to be part of like the same like cohort of artists. I don't see us as separate. You know what I mean? I wish Jean Grey was still rapping, but that's up to her. You know what I'm saying? I consider Quelle Chris to be part of our thing. I consider, obviously Aesop Rock, like just incredible Sa Rock. You know what I'm saying? We got people that came along, Reverie, incredible. Fashion, incredible. You know what I'm saying? Billy Woods, what the hell? Like, some of these people are next level. Like, just really, I would be their fan if I didn't know them. You know what I'm saying? These would be people that I'd be like, they're still putting out records. This is ill. Planet Asia. You know what I mean? It's a beautiful thing. So I'm very grateful, and I'm like really proud of this group of people. And I'm happy too to see that the people that listen and support this movement are not dropping out of it either. And honestly, a lot of people have been commenting on my pictures. They're like, man, you're slimming down. You're so skinny. Can you still do Forrest Whitaker? Yeah, I lost like 50 pounds because I want to live and I want to still be able to perform. I don't feel done. I'm not done. Like, I still have a lot of music in me. I love it as much as I ever did. I feel like I'm better at it than I ever have been. And I feel more myself. And like, as I learn more about life, I don't want to stop making music about what's happening in my life and in my heart. I don't want to stop. And I still need to be able to run around the country, run around the stage. I don't want you to be sad when you see me. And I already don't drink or smoke or anything. So people be like, man, what's your skincare routine? A couple people ask me that. I'm like, I just never drank and never smoked. I don't know, no disrespect to people that do, but I mean, those things are bad for you and they show up on your face. I'm sorry, like to say it like that. But also another thing too, I'm albino, so I can't be in the sun very much. That probably has something to do with it, you know? But then also for the last 3 years that I've been living in this country, like I go to the gym, I walk 10,000 steps every day. A lot of it is up and down very steep hills in my neighborhood. You know, I'm trying to do better about what I eat and moving my body and trying to just be a healthier person. And I really want, you can't hear my voice at this moment because I'm a little sick from traveling, but I really want all of us to be like that. I look at Merce and Blueprint and like so many of these people are healthy people. You know what I'm saying? You're seeing Slug being on stage and like, man, Slug is skinny again. He looks so good. It's so dope. And I know what it feels like now. You know what I mean? Like I never was intentional about caring for my body until I moved here. So I legitimately, now that I eat a certain way, move a certain way, like I legitimately feel better than I ever have. And that's not like me trying to prop myself up. Cause even when I was in my 20s, like, man, I was very overweight and I didn't even know it. You know what I mean? And I didn't know the weird relationship I had with my body until I started getting into it. So it's a beautiful time. And I feel very, very grateful to be in a position I'm in. It's not guaranteed. Like we're still the little engine that could, all of us, man. We're still fighting to keep it going. Still fighting to, you know, the fact that, especially after the year that we've had, with even just talking about what about the Palestinians. I have not said anything remotely hateful or anti-Semitic or any of that. I have not said anything remotely anti-Jewish. I have not said anything remotely pro-whatever. It just really is, the Palestinians are human beings too. And it's wrong to occupy people's land. It's wrong to commit genocide against them. It's wrong to, lie about them. It's wrong to, and I only criticize groups that I'm in. So I'm talking about the white supremacist colonial, colonizer of it all. That's the part I'm focused on. And just from talking about it at all, I'm not talking about I went from doing big festivals to smaller ones. I'm talking about I went from doing the biggest festivals in the world to nothing overnight. I'm talking about being in Rolling Stone and all the biggest magazines in the world to nobody wants to touch the Love and Service album. I'm talking about going from, I'm talking to a distributor and they're talking about they got Goosebumps and this is amazing and to they won't even return. They just stop returning the emails. And it's just from talking about Palestine. So to survive not only as long as we are, like I've never had a hit record. I'm in my 40s. I still do this for a living. I get up and go to sleep every day, feed my family, 4 children, you know what I'm saying, for 20 some years. You know what I mean? And my wife is a professional, but she does community mental health. That's not profitable, especially, living where we live. That's not a profit thing. The work that I do is what supports our family. And it's ultimately the Creator is supporting our family. And it's you that's supporting our family. So I'm grateful as hell. I'm just like, man, again and again and again and again. And I had a lot of pain leaving Minneapolis and leaving the label that I was with for all those years. And there's still pain there and it still feels unresolved in some ways. But I am not walking around hurt or bitter or angry at anybody. I do not have an enemy in the world. I don't have an enemy in the world. And when Sheikh Mohammed was here, he said, we are the people of no enemies. I said, yeah, but I am talking about the genocide in Philistine. He said, that's different. Those are the enemies of humanity. And Mehdi Hassan is not like my favorite person in the world. I don't agree with every single thing that he's about, but I will say that he stood up the other day and he said, man, why is it that you can talk about all the things that happened, all the things on October 7th justify killing these tens and probably 100,000 people, but the things before October 7th don't justify October 7th? And look at the precedent we're setting for what can be done to human beings now. And don't think that that's just going to stop there. That like the precedent that's been set in what's happened in the past year in Palestine, in Philistine, the precedent that's been set there is a scar on the face of humanity. This is a nightmare chapter in the history of humanity. And, you know, the fact that you can be shut down, even without being on a major platform, you can be shut down and just shut out just for posting. The majority of what I did is post Jewish voices that were telling the truth about what's happening and saying, this isn't Judaism and this shouldn't be done in my name. I don't agree with this. Nothing remotely hateful, nothing remotely violent, nothing remote supporting violence, nothing, anything like that. Just the reminder that the Palestinians are human beings that have been oppressed. That's it. And to be able to survive that and to be able to, you know, come back and offer this album that we're about to put out, Satisfied Soul. I'm very happy I put out Love and Service in the midst of all that. I'm so grateful for that. That's something that I can look back and be like, man, I don't care if the world knows that happened or not. I know it did. And hopefully it pleases Allah. And there's like a handful of people that understand it. And then this album that we're about to put out, we got this crazy election coming up and blah, blah, blah. But it's like, man, I'm putting out Satisfied Soul, which is a celebration of what means something in life. And I'm grateful. I'm doing it with my best friends, man. I'm doing it with my day ones. And I'm doing it with your support. So like, share, subscribe, go to brotherali.com, sign the mailing list, get down with the caravan, get your tickets. If you need to travel, you know, if you like the music that we've done, you want to see me and Ant celebrate our catalog together along with the new songs we got, this might be the only time that happens. I'm going to keep touring, and Ant will keep touring with Atmosphere, but will we ever do it again together? I don't know. That's up to him. You know what I'm saying? So he might surprise me and be like, yo, I'll do the East Coast with you too. But I doubt it. I just doubt it, like knowing what his life is like, you know what I mean? Will he do Europe with me? I don't know, but I doubt it. I'm going to try to do Europe. They probably won't book me in Germany. Aja Monet just got her shows canceled in Germany for talking about Palestine. Talib Kweli has been not allowed to perform in Germany because of speaking about the Palestinians. So we'll see. I probably won't be able to get shows there, but maybe. I don't know. But I would love to come back to Australia. I'd love to come back and I'd love to perform in the Muslim world too, which I've never done before in all this time I've been doing this. But we appreciate you. We love you. Thank you for rocking with us. I think, inshallah, we'll have a guest next week, so you don't have to just hear me run my mouth. But thank you for being here for all of this. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.